Welcome. I'll be doing a set of informal videos as I work on the channel branding, and today I'm going to address the topic of Joseph Smith's first vision. And this is something that 2 years ago, when I had accepted Joseph Smith as a true seer, that resulted from my own studies of the Greek and Hebrew, which led me to realize that the Book of Mormon and Joseph Smith's revelations do align in exquisite harmony with the original texts. But while I had been exploring the succession crisis, which deals with who was claiming to have Joseph's authority, like the Roman Catholic Pope system claims a succession of authority, that was when I ran across information about the CES letter. And in this letter, a Mormon in the Brighamite sect wrote to the church's CES department, which is an education department, and he never got an answer back. And so this disappointment from all the things that he had discovered that seemed to show a different story about the history than what he was told led him to uh, forever have a bad taste in his mouth about Joseph Smith, the Book of Mormon, and he uh, made this letter popular because other people were coming to similar conclusions based off of the information that is in it. And one of the alleged points that he brings up, well, it's not an alleged point. His point is a real point, but people think that it invalidates Joseph Smith and the restoration. But I'm going to endeavor to prove today that it does not. And this point is the matter of Joseph Smith's first vision, where there are many different accounts throughout Joseph's life and later that are attributed to him of what happened when he was a 14-year-old boy in the sacred grove praying a prayer inspired by the book of James that whoever lacks wisdom, God will liberally give it. And Joseph said a prayer based off of that verse, and he reported a vision of the Father and the Son. And later, the account reports seeing three personages, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And so you'll hear stories about one account where it's just uh, Jesus appearing, another account where it's the Father and the Son, and then eventually the three personages. And so what I've heard is that there's 9 accounts, but when I've come across information online, some of the things that people are saying about all of these just don't add up. But there are at least a few accounts that are legit. And the information in the later accounts sometimes seems to be different than the original. But I'm going to read a little section from what's called Joseph Smith History 115. And this is from this book. I don't know if you can see it with the blurry screen. There we go. So after I had retired to the place where I had previously designed to go, having looked around me and finding myself alone, I kneeled down and began to offer up the desires of my heart to God. I had scarcely done so when immediately I was seized upon by some power which entirely overcame me, and had such an astonishing influence over me as to bind my tongue so that I could not speak. Thick darkness gathered around me, and it seemed to me for a time as if I were doomed to sudden destruction. but exerting all my powers to call upon God to deliver me out of the power of this enemy which had seized me, and at the very moment when I was ready to sink into despair and abandon myself to destruction, not to an imaginary ruin, but to the power of some actual being from the unseen world who had such marvelous power as I had never before felt in any being. Just at this moment of great alarm, I saw a pillar of light exactly over my head, above the brightness of the sun, which descended gradually until it fell upon me. It no sooner appeared than I found myself delivered from the enemy which held me bound. When the light rested upon me, I saw two personages whose brightness and glory defy all description, standing above me in the air. One of them spake unto me, calling me by name, and said, pointing to the other, This is my beloved Son, hear him. My object in going to inquire of the Lord was to know which of all the sects was right, that I might know which to join. No sooner, therefore, did I get possession of myself, so as to be able to speak, than I asked the personages who stood above me in the light, which of all the sects was right, for at this time it had never entered into my heart that all were wrong, and which I should join. I was answered that I must join none of them, for they were all wrong. And the personage who addressed me said that all their creeds were an abomination in his sight, that those professors were all corrupt, that they draw near to me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. They teach four doctrines, the commandments of men, having a form of godliness, but they deny the power thereof. And then this is verse 20. He again forbade me to join with any of them, and many other things did he say unto me, which I cannot write at this time. All right. Well, verse 20 essentially debunks the idea that multiple accounts discredit Joseph Smith. It specifically says, which I cannot write at this time. I don't know about you, but logically, it looks to me he cannot write at this time. So it says, he again forbade me to join with any of them, and many other things did he say unto me, which I cannot write at this time. And so what we see here is what I consider to be straw man argument, which would be that, I might be misidentifying that slightly, but if you really think about it, Joseph already said that there were things that he couldn't write, which means that automatically means that there would be a time later that he could. So sometimes I don't know what it is, but there's some weird logic that enters people's minds with a lot of these things concerning Joseph, that once you just consider it as it is, then you realize, oh, wait, that's not an argument. So I'll leave you with that today. And next time, I'll keep it short again, and we'll have a little bit of fun with debunking some of the myths out there.